Our story begins with three brave adventurers: Lucian, the brave and noble paladin; Ernie, the reserved but calculating warlock; and Petrichor, the self-serving and at times rightfully arrogant wizard. They were all in their respective towns when they received a mysterious note from a black raven. The note told them to meet a halfling, Welby, on a trail south of Neverwinter, and that they will from there travel to the town of Pratt. The note also gave our adventurers this very foreboding message: Exxon must be stopped. This is where our players first met each other. Sparks didn't exactly fly at first, but they didn't hate each other either. Traveling down the road, they encountered an unguarded box. Our brave Lucian was the first to approach this box and was subsequently shot at by goblins who then emerged from the forest, along with one old man with blue eyes. Our heroes fought off the goblins, and Lucian managed to restrain the old man. And then Petrichor stole his red ring. And then he poked a dead deer a couple times with a sword. They traveled to the town of Pratt, where they met all kinds of crazy, wonderful people. There was Dictor, who was a large clay golem with a bird on his shoulder possessed by magic; Pockets, who ran the local trading post; Parnthaslin, the eccentric elder of the church tie; and Pearl, the beautiful young red-headed damsel, and her younger brother Chip, who punched Petrichor in the jewels the moment they arrived. They delivered their cart full of goods to Pockets, the war-ravaged old man who tells them about his daughter Vivian, who had been abducted by goblins. He tells the players where to find her, and they agree to search out in the morning. That night, they decide to stay in the Basic Badger and proceed to get exceedingly drunk. Petrichor tries to hit on the only hottie in the bar and only succeeds in spilling his drink on her. Lucian shares some war stories with Pockets, as well as an epic high five, and Ernie gets some very awkward, creepy glances from an old man at the bar. The next morning, they help out Dictor in an epic battle against a couple goblins, bugbears, and actual bears, all of which are quickly defeated by Dictor. They interrogate a goblin for a while until the large golem cuts off his head. They set out to save Vivian and head towards the Jade Caves. Once at the caves, they quickly kill the goblins outside, and Petrichor falls in some water. Making their way inside, Ernie casts a sick wall around a bunch of wolves, and Petrichor falls into a pile of bones and guts and once again has to change his clothes. They get flushed out of the cave when the goblins hear them coming, and then Lucian pretends to be a goblin named Doug who is taking a poop. They eventually find Vivian with a goblin named Bill. A battle takes place, which consists mostly of Petrichor wearing some bitching armor and slipping on ball bearings, before Bill dangles Vivian over the cliff and tells them that unless they want her to die, they will instead go kill his boss, a large bugbear named Andy. The players agree and make their way to Andy, flushing out several more goblins along the way. Ernie disguises herself as Bill and attempts to talk with Andy, who doesn't listen. Petrichor meows like a cat for some reason, and another long epic battle takes place, ending in the death of Andy. Afterwards, Bill recants on the deal and scams our heroes out of some extra coin in exchange for Vivian, who is all but ungrateful. They make their way back into town. Dictor arrests Vivian, and our heroes learn about the Blue Hand Crew, a once lawful organization that meant to stop the evil blue-eyed creatures that have been attacking the town of Pratt. Now, just a bunch of ragtag, raiders, and murderers plaguing the town. Pockets gives them some dope shit for rescuing his daughter. This big orc woman named Doris rolls into town with an army saying she will pay our heroes to bring her the axe of the leader of the BHC, Blue Hand Crew, whose name is Bozak. Parnthaslin says that he once knew this Exxon, and that he wouldn't be too surprised to learn that it was his doings that caused the blue-eyed creatures to come to town. The heroes decide they need to kill off the Blue Hand Crew at their hideout in order to find out what they knew about the blue-eyed creatures. But first, of course, they had to go to the Basic Badger and get very, very, very drunk. Very drunk. So drunk. So drunk that Petrichor passed out and had to be carried home. So drunk that when they were attacked by members of the Blue Hand Crew, Petrichor, thinking it was one of them, threw a bottle at a mirror when he saw his own reflection, and then slipped and bonked his head, leaving Lucian and Ernie to defeat these Blue Hand ruffians, and of course not without Lucian keeping one very special, if not psychotic, trophy. Thumbs. Our heroes make it to the hideout where they quickly set off all the traps. They make their way inside, kill some guards. Ernie finds some potions in a fountain. They meet a Nothic who wants to be fed. They solve a puzzle involving giving some zombies some coins, kill a gelatinous cube who keeps trying to eat Petrichor, and eventually meet Richard, a small grumpy man with a crow and a ring. They enter Bernard's room, who once used to run the Blue Hand crew, and then shit got weird. Like, make out with a dead corpse weird. Like, watch your dead sister turn to ash while scorpions crawl out of her weird. Like, battle a giant book while infinitely falling kinda weird. But they survived and got some pretty cool shit out of it too. They also learned from Bernard's books where Exxon was hiding, and that he was using some pretty powerful magic items that were given to him by some shady guy named the Black Scorpion. They leave Bernard's room, slightly shaken, and go to kill Bozak. Some deep gnomes try to trick them and then kill them. They all debate on whether or not to kill Bozak's mom. Petrichor, for. Lucien, against. Eventually, Ernie decides that a woman's touch was all that the situation needed. It wasn't. A battle started when Bozak burst through the room and Petrichor slipped off a table into a pile of mashed potatoes, which he then ate. Lucien just started cutting people in half left and right. Petrichor killed an accordion player before Bozak grabbed his mother and decided to blow the whole place up. While running away from the exploding hideout, a rock landed on Petrichor's leg, and Lucien used his strength to save him, and then carry him, even though he wasn't even hurt. The trio tailed it out of the hideout and managed to get Bozak's axe from him while he was dangling above a trap door, where Lucien sadly waved goodbye to Richard in a moment of self-reflecting crisis before they all made it out alive, and Lucien said something really funny that I don't remember. They get another note from a raven, make it back to Pratt to find that Vivian has broken out and Pockets has left. And now it's Satchels and Victor who run the store and aren't fooling anyone with their disguises, except for Lucien, who is super duper fooled. They bring the axe to Doris, who gives them some coin and 2 stones of far speech, and then Petrichor tries to flirt with the same hottie from the bar who's sinking arrows into a target. She introduces herself as Celia Bluebottom, who once again Petrichor has no luck with. They bring much of what they find to Parnthaslan, who tells them there is only one man who could have made all the magic items that Exxon has used. Allensburn!
Yay!
Except no one has seen Allensburn in years.
No!
But Parnthaslan knows his former apprentice, Gilgad. But Gilgad lives on an island in the middle of the ocean.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
And Gilgad's also a mute. So the players get they get Satchel to suggest a captain with a boat who can take them to Whalebone Island.
Isla de Hueso de Ballena.
It also gives them some dope ocean potions, as well as a small box for Gilgad, and our players head out to find Cappy. But not before a very wholesome and adorable dinner with Pearl and her family. They eat pumpkin with pumpkin soup and talk about her father and the town of Pratt, and it's adorable. Our heroes eventually find Cappy seated around a fire with a bunch of ugly fish. He lets them on board his vessel. They travel for 3 days, sharing danger and adventure and stories and food and liquor and all that is required of a wonderful seafaring adventure. The box that Pockets gave them gets smashed open and an annoying green crab tries to run overboard before Lucien catches it. They also get some great loot and in the process become closer as friends.
Yay!
Cappy, however, gets more and more worried as the trip goes on, and they get closer and closer to Whalebone Island. He tells our heroes of the horrible visions that plague him of a giant god, the Aboleth, whose treasure he stole from Whalebone Island years ago, and asks the players if they could give it back to this terrible creature for him. He takes them to a blocked-off part of the ship where they see his giant red submarine. And then he hands them a giant black dragon's egg, giving it to Lucien to hold on to. And that is now where we leave our heroes. Can they find Gilgad on Whalebone Island? Will he know where Allensburn is? Can Allensburn help our heroes get their hands on these magical items they need to find and stop Exxon? Who is delivering these notes to our heroes? Why is Lucien cutting off everyone's thumbs? Does Petrichor have a drinking problem? And what happened to Gus the Goat? All these questions and more will be asked and answered as our heroes continue their journey. Probably.